Welcome to the forum for BIT. In this program, we are going to talk about IT1203, Computer Systems 1. Today I have with me Mr. Hakim Yusuf. He is the course coordinator of this course. Hakim, what are the objectives of today's session?
Well, today basically we will be addressing the first half of the Computer Systems 1 module or rather course, and under this we will be talking about the first 4 chapters of the course. So today's program will basically we'll try to give the students certain amount of knowledge, like how to follow the first half of this particular course.
Let's start with a brief overview of the first half of the course. Hakim, shall we go through the topics covered in the first half?
Yes, well, in the first half we'll be covering the first 4 chapters, and we start off with overview of computer systems. So this particular chapter basically covers a wide area about computer systems, and this is not specific. It talks about computer systems in general. So we'll be talking about the big picture rather. And in this we'll be talking about each of the functionality of the devices that we would consider in a computer system. So the second chapter basically talks about evolution of computer and computers today. So here we'll be actually looking at the history of computers and how computers evolved, and also what computers are today and what devices are equivalent to computers in today's world. The third chapter will be talking about input and output devices. So here we will be actually going into specific details, like each device, like for example we'll be talking about the keyboard, the mouse, and different input output devices, and we'll be talking in very specific terms, not like the overview of computer systems. The first chapter we'll be talking in general, like what output systems do and input, but here we will be talking about what each device does. So we'll be very specific in this particular chapter. And the fourth chapter will be talking about storage. So we'll be talking about each storage device specifically. So we'll be talking about hard drives and CD-ROMs and all these devices including memory. So we'll be talking very specifically about these chapters. So if I do it in general, I would say that chapter 1 and 2 basically covers an introduction to computer systems and the history of computers, and chapter 3 and 4 covers the basic hardware devices, and very specifically hardware devices that we use for input, output and storage.
That's a very comprehensive introduction to computer systems.
Yes, it is. So we'll be really addressing each device according to their specifications.
I'm sure that when our students hear this very broad content, they must have a lot of questions about how to follow this course successfully.
Well, yes, we've actually studied, like we've been students some time back, so we've actually looked like how we should follow a course. So basically we've identified 4 questions that come into the student's mind. So the first question, that is, what should I be able to do? So that is like we would be talking about what a student should be able to do at the end of this course. So we'll be talking about the course in general. So that is basically given in something we call learning outcomes, and if students have a look at their syllabus, we would clearly state a general learning outcome for the whole course, as well as we'll be talking about learning outcomes for specific chapters.
I think it's very important to have a very clear idea about the final outcome of the course as well as the final outcome of the first half of the course.
Yes.
So I think when we develop this course, we spend quite a lot of time to come up with this course outcome.
Yes, because we've seen so far that sometimes people follow courses without having the exact knowledge of what needs to be done, but here we have made sure that students know that it is important that they know what they are able to do at the end of this course. And then moving on to the second question that we thought that the students get into their mind is, what resources do I have to learn them? So basically in this section we talk about the reference books, the guidebook, as well as the LMS. So the reference book is very general, like it is not specifically intended for the BIT course. So it's a big it covers a lot of topics. So here we have tried to specify very much what the students need to study. So this has been done using the guidebook that we provide students now. It wasn't there in the previous syllabus, but now we provide students with a guidebook for it. And also we are empowered with the LMS, or a learning management systems, which helps students to focus on what is really necessary for them to follow this course.
Can you go through some of the resources available, like the reference books? Maybe we should mention some of them.
Yes, actually the references, we have Peter Norton's Introduction to Computer, the 6th edition, and Scott Muller's Upgrading and Repairing PCs, the 16th edition. Both of these are actually available in South Asian editions, or Indian editions we call them, which are very much low priced, and students should be able to afford them. And also we have a third reference, which is Ralph Steyer and George Reynolds, Principles of Information Systems, the 7th edition, which is actually required for the section or the second half of the syllabus. So this is actually at the moment not available as a cheap price edition, so later onwards we hope that it will be. So those are the references available, and the guidebook, we have taken a lot of effort to make it as simple as possible so that every student should be able to understand the guidebook. And the LMS, we have a lot of resources in that. We have the guidebook as well as different modules so that they can learn individually on their own time, and we have practice quizzes as well as assessments so that it helps students to learn. And also a very important thing, we have a forum where students can query their questions and other students can answer, as well as the people involved in the course can answer those questions.
I think that's very important because most students are following this course remotely. They don't come to the university. So it's very important that they interact with other fellow students and as well as the course instructors.
Yes, we are actually trying to build a learning community through this, so that we have a large community of learners who help each other. So the LMS should help us to do that.